Okay, welcome Paula and Adam. You are the producer and the head of the outreach campaign at the film Caught in the Net, the Czech film that we are going to present at the festival. Unfortunately, the directors can't be with us, but I'm sure we will have a very interesting conversation. So perhaps my first question is when you watch at your film and you watch at the preparations for the shooting, all the studio work, all the mise en scène, it feels like you're watching preparations for a big Hollywood, film production. So, which is pretty unusual for a documentary, no?
Yes, it's very unusual. I think that this hybrid format is one of the successes of the film, that we managed to actually get the viewers to forget that they are watching studio girls in the studio, but they actually feel suddenly that they are watching 12-year-old girls in their homes, or 12-year-old girls in the cafes with the predators. And I think that's the value of the film, that you actually get to see how it's going when something like this is actually happening, when the cameras are not there.
Did you work for the first time with Vít Klušák, or because he's well known for his, basically he always have this kind of elaborate, starts, it's, if my memory serves, it was something similar with the Czech Dreams, where all the background was first prepared. So did you work with him before?
Was like 9 years old, I think, when the Czech Dream came to the cinema. So no, I'm not. I didn't.
I didn't work with him on any film, but we actually were at the same school. He was a teacher there, and I was a student, and we met in the academic senate, and we voted for a new dean together. And we were actually on a different sides, so it was quite surprising for me when suddenly he called and asked if I would like to work with him, because before that I would never imagine that something like that would happen. But when he pitched me the idea and told me about the topic, I was in right away, because I knew that it's very important thing that needs to be done, and the social debate about this topic needs to be opened. But it was first time for me. But till now, we are actually working on a third film together.
Okay.
Actually the same crew as in Caught in the Net. First one, we are making a film about the COVID-19 situation in our country. We are shooting for a year now, and the second one is actually secret. So maybe in the future we'll be talking about that film, because I think it will be interesting as well.
But the preparations for Caught in the Net must have been also very secretive, because apparently you wouldn't say, oh, we are shooting a movie about child molesters. So how did you do this?
We were very careful, and with especially like if you have to like apply for a public fund, or in the Czech television, the public TV, there are certain materials that needs to be published on the web, because
Yes.
the public fund. So we had to have special talks with the institutions where they let us do some synopsis that was so vague that you couldn't even know what the film was about at all. And when we were working on the film with the crew, we signed the NDA agreement with everyone, saying that this is very sensitive material, that they should not talk about it. And then when this time ended, Adam came, and suddenly it was the other way around, that everybody had to knew about the film. So it's totally changed. But from my position, it was quite hard to get some financial partners, because if you can't really talk about the film in public, you can't really spread the word that you are actually making it. It's much harder to find some public, private investors. But after we did the crowdfunding campaign where we actually announced that we made this film, it was much easier because suddenly everyone was talking about it.
So Adam, what was your role exactly at the film?
I started to work at this moment at the start of the crowdfunding, and we started with one teaser around 3 minutes, and it was quite successful. All the campaign around the crowdfunding, we started all the social media like Facebook and Instagram, and we started to build the community around our movie and around Vít Klusák, like the director, and Barbara Kalkula, like the director, and after that, I like build the community around them for like half a year, and we like slowly putting out the teasers and trailers and posters and etc. And after that, after the premiere, we started to do the outreach campaign and the screenings for kids with a special version of the movie and. But unfortunately, after like 2 weeks, the all cinemas was closed. So we are waiting right now for another like second part of our outreach campaign to spread the details around our movies and the materials what we have, what we built with our like specialists on this topic to continue basically with the like screenings and debates with the actors and directors.
How did Vít Klusák and Barbara Chalupova share their director duties? I mean, we know that Vít likes to manipulate, the Czech people, like he often did in the past with Filip Remunda. So was Barbara maybe more here with the project because of her female perspective on child molesting, or how was it shared?
I think Vít was the one who came up with the idea to do an independent film about this topic because the impulse actually came from one of the internet broadcasters who knew the research and knew that there is this phenomena and that they wanted to make a 10-minute video. And Vít approached Bára because she was actually his student a couple of years ago, and he knew that she's super talented, and he knew that it would be good to have someone who is a female and actually age-wise much closer to the group of people that's actually happening. And people don't know that much, but Bára is quite skilled hacker and very good with modern technology, and Vít is very not that much. So I think that was one of the reasons that he wanted to have someone who will help him that. And I think it was a really good synergy that they worked very well together, and even in the editing time, because Vít is the editor of the film, but Bára was there with him the whole time in the editing room, and I think they kind of were finding the compromises, and I think that's a good thing that they did because both brought the good stuff in the film, and it worked well.
Yeah, work with child psychologists and other experts, must have been very important at this project. So how did this come about? How this,
we knew that we are dealing with quite a sensitive subject, and we needed to know as much information as possible. So even during the development phase, we contacted psychologists and sexologists from Czech Republic who are focused on this topic, because at first I just thought that we are going to get any child psychologist, but then I was told that it's such a huge field of expertise. It's like asking any child psychologist to give you opinion on this topic would be like asking your dentist to do a surgery for you, So we realized that we need to have someone who is actually totally focused on the child abuse online, and we found really good people who are very highly
and
who are very good at their job in this topic. So we decided that we are gonna invite them to be on set with us. Before we, in the development, we were actually getting advices from them, but we wanted to have them in the film, but we didn't want to do just a classical, face on the camera shooting. So we decided that we are gonna bring them in the studio so they can be there with us to advise us and give us some good points on what's happening, and then we are going to get their feedback right on the action, because I think it works better than if you would have someone just talking directly to the camera. So that's why we did it this way.
Yeah, they also helped us with our website and with all the documents what we have for the outreach screen for the kids.
Yeah, yeah. Was there a specific incident in Czech society that has triggered this film? Was there, or did you decide based on the, I don't know, because it's obvious when you start with these fake profiles that the mass of people who actually wanted immediately to communicate with the girls was astounding. So, but was there a specific moment in Czech society that you said, okay, we should do a movie about this?
So the main trigger was a research from one research group from University in Olomouc. So it's one of the biggest university cities in Czech Republic, and they actually did a research on 17,000 children from the age of from 7 to 17, and what they found out was quite alarming, that a lot of kids would send their naked photos to someone they don't know, that they would meet someone in public, on a date with someone they don't know, and that they actually have an experience with being abused like this online. And that was the trigger. And when the internet provider gave Vít Kusák this research, he thought, oh my God, it must be a mistake. There must be like one, digit wrong. But it's not possible that like 41% of children actually have an experience like that. And then they said, okay, let's do a research of our own. So they went to this local community chat server, and they created a profile of 12-year-old girl called Teeny, and made a really believable profile with all these photos from Disney movies, and with typos, saying some funny stuff that kids of this age actually do. And they went to this one chat group and said, I'm bored, and smiley face, and they left. And they thought that maybe in a week 10 people will approach this girl. So they closed the computer, and when Vít Kusák opened the computer in 5 hours, he was super shocked, because the profile was actually approached by 86 different men from the age of 26 to the age of 68, and we were absolutely shocked. So that was one of more of the triggers that actually gave us the reassurance that it's not something that could be for the 10-minute video, but there has to be an independent film with an outreach campaign built around it. And then there was another case in Brno, the second largest city in Czech Republic. There was this girl from very good family, well off. Her father was a doctor at one hospital, and they really talked to her about this topic, because they were aware it's actually happening. And one day she came to his father's office, and she said, my computer, my phone died. Can I just borrow your mobile so I can write my friend on the messenger? And he borrowed her phone, and then she said, okay, goodbye, I'm just gonna go back to school or something. And when he looked at the phone later on, he saw that she forgot to lock out of the profile, and he suddenly saw a profile of some old guy she was obviously messaging, and he didn't know him, so he looked in there, and he was super surprised because there was a very explicit conversation with sending like nudes and everything, and he was surprised because he thought, oh, but we talked about it, our daughter should be very aware of this, how come it's actually happening to her, that she's sending her photos to someone as well. And when he came home, he told his wife, and she was crying, and they were super sad about it, and say, we have to talk about it with her. And when she came home, they confronted her with it, and she said, every girl in our school has a predator, and I was the only one who actually doesn't. And I knew that I'm not supposed to like talk to people like that, but I was the only one out, so I created my own predator. So she actually created a profile of this guy, and she was sending herself these photos so she could prove to her friends that she actually has a predator too. She proved it by actually being able to log in into his profile. And suddenly when we heard this story, we thought, oh my God, it's such a phenomenon that the kids consider it that you are not
Outsider,
cool outsider if you don't
Yeah.
have your own predator. And we said, we have to change this. We have to change it to the way that the kids will think it's weird to have these predators. Cool is to be aware how to behave on the internet and to be, like
Mhm.
behave like not to have problems like this.
Yeah.
So it was one of the triggers that actually reassured us that making a huge film about it, it's a good way to go.
Mhm. So we know that now during the COVID, the cinemas are closed. So I don't know how your movie was presented in Czech Republic, but has there been any reactions to the film? Has it been shown on the TV, for example, already?
That might.
So the film was actually premiered last year, 2 weeks before the first lockdown.
Okay.
This 2 weeks, it was seen by 330,000 people.
Oh, that's a lot.
A lot. And then when the cinemas reopened, and there was actually no other films available because nobody really wanted to like premiere at this time of year, then we got another 220 or so altogether it was like 553,000 in cinema.
Oh, great.
And we moved to TVOD, and that was quite successful there as well. And last week, on Wednesday, we had a premiere in the prime time in the main channel of the public television, and it was seen by 1.2 million people.